Have you ever been in love? No, not like the healthy kind of love, like that toxic love, like that love that you're in so deep with that you actually end up losing yourself. What's up, y'all? Coach Amanda here. So today's video, we are going to focus on why many of us enter relationships and then find ourselves down this rabbit hole, not even recognizing who we are in the weeks and months that follow. But before we do that, be sure to like this video and also hit the subscribe button so I can keep on delivering amazing content to you. I think we've all done this. Ladies, just being a lady myself, I know it's very common with us. You hear it all the time. Stage 5 clinger. It's a thing. I know it happens with men too. There's certain men who are super clingy and we kind of share those similarities in a sense. But in my opinion, I feel like this happens a lot with women. It's not to say that men don't suffer from living up to a social or physical standard, because they absolutely do. And I know that there's many men who lack self-esteem because of this, but also men are a lot more likely to let things roll off their shoulders. They're a lot more accepting of themselves in certain areas, whereas women, we are so full of emotions that a lot of us constantly are lacking in the confidence department. And it's funny because when I was a little girl, I remember specifically being 10 years old and I was in 5th grade and I had the biggest crush on this boy, the biggest crush ever. And he was into, this was the 90s, y'all. He was into skating, like skateboarding. And so those pants that zipped off at the knee were totally in. And I remember that's all he would wear. He had a army dark green pair. I'll never forget it. And because I liked him, I wanted to dress like him. Now, I don't know how that makes any sense, but in my little mind, I thought, okay, if I start dressing like him and taking interest in BMX and skateboarding and rollerblading, you know, maybe he will end up liking me. I started to shift how I like to dress to how he liked to dress because I thought it would make him like me. So as you go into your teenage years, you see it a lot where girl meets boy, girl has a huge crush on boy, and girl will start to shift her interests into what he likes. Honestly, how often do you see a boy liking a girl in high school, and let's say she's really into Taylor Swift and loves to get her nails done? You don't see men or boys all of a sudden shifting and saying, oh, I like Taylor Swift too, and I want to get my nails done. It don't happen. But you do see a boy saying, oh, we'll go with Husker football because that's where I'm from, Nebraska. We'll say she has no interest in Husker football. He's a huge Husker football fan. She really likes him. You will slowly begin to see a lot of women will start buying Husker gear and wanting to go to Husker games. And all of a sudden, she's fully into being a massive football fan. You're so excited to get to know this person and you're excited to embrace the things that they also like. And you're kind of just exploring at this point. But this can take a very toxic turn, my friend, because in the beginning it seems harmless, right? You think, what's the harm in liking the same team as this person likes? What's the harm in me taking part in the activities that they like to do? This is where self-awareness is key. This is huge. Because a lot of times, we don't even realize why we are kind of conforming to being this person we think this other person's gonna like. But subconsciously, when you're doing things that you once had no interest in, but now it's like something that you're super passionate about, subconsciously you're doing it because you're scared that if you don't, that other person is going to abandon you. And in a nutshell, this is fear of abandonment. When we're teenagers and we're doing this, we haven't really lived enough life to fully go through enough breakups where we feel like somebody is always going to leave us, unless we had some childhood trauma due to family members leaving. But most teenagers, when they are conforming to be like this person, it's strictly because they're lacking self-esteem in themselves and they are now putting their worth in the other person. So they're doing everything that they like in hopes that it keeps them interested in them. However, when you get older and you've experienced life and maybe you've gone through divorces or maybe you've gone through multiple breakups and you feel like you just don't have anybody, And then you meet somebody later in life and you do this where you start to just shift and conform yet again. This is due to you having extreme abandonment issues and the fear of losing somebody. And this pinpoints a deeper trauma response, because not only are you fearing abandonment by this other person that has made you feel so much happier than you felt in a very long time, you are now not able to be fully yourself because you don't like yourself. When you don't like yourself, obviously, you suffer from having low self-esteem or zero confidence. And so you feel that being your authentic self and expressing the things that you like and just being who you are and who you have been, when people continuously have broken your heart when you were that person, you now feel more than ever that you need to start being whatever this other person wants you to be so they stick around. And believe me, I'm talking from experience. Now, I have never been somebody who completely conforms to other people's interests, because most of the time the people that I do pursue already have those same interests that I do. However, I would take this in the form of bending over backwards and doing as many kind and sweet, thoughtful things as I possibly could in hopes that they would return that to me. And while this is kind of conforming in a different way, it has the same root issue, which is low self-esteem and fear of people leaving me. So you'll see it in both these things. You'll see people who change who they are into this completely different person than they've ever been. And then you see people over here who disappear and then give in hopes that it keeps that person wanting to stay with them. Both of these things are completely toxic and just very bad for your self-development. And unfortunately, one of the only ways that you can heal from this is being alone. And the problem that can stem from being alone is most people don't take that time and utilize it to actually heal and grow as an individual. Most of the time when people are single, they're dabbling in online dating, they're not focusing on themselves, they're getting distracted, take every relationship that they have ever been in before and they blame the other person for why it didn't work out. And then behind closed doors, they cry at night and blame themselves and say that it's me, I'm unlovable, something's wrong with me. And all this does is keep this individual in a very low vibrational state, having zero self-esteem. And I think one of the trickiest things regarding this topic is most of the time when people are conforming into being somebody else so this person doesn't leave, they almost trick their psyche into believing that this is fun. I like who I'm becoming. This is a good thing. I'm becoming better than the person that I used to be. And while that's very healthy, we should be with people who ignite growth within us and help us change for the better. It does not mean that you conform and become exactly like the person you're with. When you start to be twinsies with the person that you are pursuing, you know it is not authentic growth. That is complete toxic attachment. The key points in this is recognizing your own actions, recognizing how you're thinking, how you're feeling when it comes to pursuing new relationships or being in one. We have this idea that it needs to happen in our early 20s, and if it doesn't happen by 30 or 40 or 50, that something is wrong with us. The truth is, sometimes you're needing those longer periods of being alone because you haven't done the work you needed to fully embrace yourself yet. So don't waste the time that you do have alone. Being alone is not a bad thing. It gets a very bad rap from society a lot of the time. And it's actually a very beautiful gift that we are given when we are completely alone and we can self-reflect and grow and fall in love with ourselves. When you can do this, you ignite this beautiful power within yourself. And eventually the right person will find you, be attracted to you for being exactly who you are, and you will not feel the need to conform or shift who it is you are to hold on to this person. Because this person will just want to stick around because you are you. But before that can happen, you have to fall in love with being with yourself first.